Yeah, and what I was, we were saying off air that I was kind of not. I think stalking is the wrong word. Sounds really bad, doesn't it, when I say that? But we connected on Instagram, which is fantastic. And,
Yes, we did. Yes,
your Instagram is really, really interesting because it really shows off, the fantastic design features of some of your properties and things like
thank
that.
you.
But I was really interested when I was looking through that into how, a young girl comes out of university and then suddenly goes, oh, do you know what? I think I might be a property developer. Like, what? How did that happen? Like, what actually kind of went through your mind where you just suddenly went,
yeah,
do you know what? Sod it. I'll just do this property thing.
It's a bit mental, and even some of my friends say, how the hell are you doing this, Emma? And I just think, well, I'm doing it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how. I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
So when I was quite young, kind of a teenager type thing, I love property. I didn't know I was ever going to get into it. I thought maybe, 40s, 50s, semi-retired type thing. Yeah, I'd get into it then. So I definitely didn't think at 25 I would get into it. And even younger than that as well. So, going back to, to being teens, I was interested in it. I was always researching things on Rightmove and Zoopla and things like that, and thinking, oh, one day I wish, I would, be able to buy my first house and renovate it and things like that. And with this house that I'm currently in now, it was just a little bit of luck. But going back to kind of my first renovation in the Northeast, it was quite a sad situation actually, because my grandma passed away, my dad inherited her house, and I just thought, actually, we'll install a little bit of love into this house up in the Northeast. And we did. And I managed that solely myself. I was working full time again up there. And I got a team of plasterers, a team of builders, kitchen fitters, the whole works. I did it. And I thought, actually, I'm quite good at this. And I really, really enjoy it. And, it's just fun and it's sexy. And, it's everything that I wanted in a business, or not even a business then, but just something to do. And that I knew I could make money from as well, which was, it was everything in one. So then, later down the line, I then dropped on this property and I went to go view it one evening. I think it was a Wednesday evening. I think I remember back in November. And obviously it didn't look like this. It was so derelict, so old type of thing. And I was like, yeah, I just like it. I just got the vibe straight away. I knew how much they sold for in the street and in the area, bearing in mind this area I've grown up in, so I know the streets, I know the prices like the back of my hand type of thing. And it actually wasn't on market. So again, I was quite lucky. I got it off market. And if I hadn't put in an offer that Wednesday evening, it would have gone on the market for £15,000 more 24 hours later. So I knew I had to act quick. And I knew I had my mortgage and I knew I could afford it. I did all the maths type of thing. I knew how much roughly I was going to spend on it renovating. And I knew that selling price, right at the end. And I think that's so, so important. You've got to know that selling price. And obviously you've got to know the refurb costs and stuff. And I thought, yeah, I've got my team in the Northeast. Obviously they're not going to travel down to Yorkshire. However, I can build a team, this power team that gets flown around quite a bit. I can build my power team in Yorkshire too. So that's what I then did. And a lot of my builders and a lot of my trades have come through recommendations and things like that, which, I've been really, really lucky. I haven't had any problems whatsoever, but those guys I've definitely be taking to the next one and the next one after that as well. So I think I've got lucky on this one, but now, I'm looking for other deals and other properties out there. And currently right now I have my eye on 3. So,
wow, even in these times,
just after lockdown, just after lockdown, it's going to be busy. So,
good. That's what you want to be. You want to come out the blocks firing, don't you? But there was one thing that you mentioned in there, which, as somebody in finance, it really did. It really resonated with me. Is you said you've got to know your end value, and I think that's so important.
Yes.
It sounds so basic, but one thing I've learned in the last few weeks of lockdown, as I've been speaking to more people than I ever have before, is actually how much I take for granted that people don't know. And there's investors out there that don't see things in the way that I think they should be. Not necessarily to say that I'm always right, but I guess I think of it from a finance perspective, a lender's perspective. And for me, I'm always, the first thing I do when I speak to a client is, right, okay, you've got this project. What's the end value going to be? And if they at all, I know I've got problems, because it needs to be really watertight. And that sort of brings me on to something else that you mentioned, which is the knowledge of the area. So merging those two
definitely.
things together. Firstly, I suppose people always worry about, there's this term, the gold mine area, isn't it? How important is it to really understand your investment area, your gold mine area, if you like, because obviously that then resonates with really understanding realistically what your end value is going to be.
Yeah, 100%. I think you've got to know it inside out. You know, I know the streets back of my hand. I think I've been quite lucky in the fact that I've grown up in this area. And obviously, when you're going to new areas, yes, it's a little bit different. Obviously, that time and that knowledge, you know, does take time to build up, type of thing. But you know, I think definitely for kind of my second/first investment myself, play safe. You know, go to the areas that you know inside out, and yeah, this project just dropped on in that type of way. But yeah, it is so important. You know, I can't stress enough when people message me on Instagram, and I've had quite a few messages from people, a lot of messages from people, you know, asking, oh, how do I get in property, where do I start, type of thing. And I just say research every little bit, nut and cranny that you can possible. You know, leading up to this project, there was quite a lot of work that went into it, really. And even in the mortgage stages, you know, I could have backed out at any point, you know, if the figures didn't stack up, but they did stack up. And that's the thing, you know, I've always got my finance head on and my business head on as well, especially coming from that type of background anyway, in the corporate world. So, you know, if those figures don't stack up, then I ain't going to go towards a deal, you know, like that. But yeah, knowing your area, knowing what things go for, yeah, 100%. But also, you know, speaking to agents, you know, I tend to, you know, have long, deep conversations with agents that I think are actually really, really valuable. And I think nobody can underestimate that either, you know. And I think, you know, the estate agent agency, I think it does get a bad rep and, you know, things like that. But, you know, at the same time, you've got to make them your friends. It's true. You know, you have. And it is a bit annoying sometimes when, you know, another one of their clients, you know, gets to a deal before you and things like that. Yeah, we've all had it and stuff like that. But, you know, you've got to make them our friends, really.
That's been like a really...
I think that, yeah, and I think that helps, you know, especially in the area that you're looking in, the two come together.